Hey Lovies, welcome to my channel, Craft Away with May. I'm May. Welcome to my old and new subbies. I'm so glad to have you all here with me today. As the thumbnail shows, I have 4.5 DIYs for you guys today. And I'm just showing you a few items here that we're going to be using with that first project we have coming up. So we are going to be using Dollar Tree apples today, but I am going to be incorporating some apples that I picked up off of Amazon. Now, the longer shaped apples, which look more like the red apples, the traditional red apples, came from Dollar Tree, and the more rounded ones I did get off of Amazon. So the colors I'm going to be using for the apples, I'm doing 2 of each. I'm going to go in with this Spice Berry color by Apple Barrel, and I'm also going to be using some Moss color paint by Waverly. And I'm just going to give them all full coverage. I did maybe about 1-ish coats on each. Not trying to go too heavy with it, because once it dried, it started giving me more of that vintage Christmas vibe, and I wanted to stay with the fall colors. So I am painting the stems in the burnt umber. Then I decided let's go ahead and lighten these up a bit. So I am going to go in with some distressing. I would say it's like a medium coat of distressing, not too heavy, not too light, but I did want to lighten up the apples. Again, going for that more vintage fall versus vintage Christmas. I don't know if I captured that or not, but that's what I was trying to do. And so I do that for all 4. And so once I get them all covered, what else am I doing? Oh boy, I left a lot of distressing in there for y'all. All right, there we go. All righty, here we go. Back in the game. So next, I'm taking some of this scrap greenery I had in my stash, and what I'm doing is taking off a few of the little leaves on there to cover up the holes and to give this more of a 3D effect, if you will. And so I probably put way more leaves on there than I should have, but I think I accomplished what I set out to do, guys. And I'm just adding this on with some hot glue. I used hot glue throughout all the projects today, so, and I don't think it'll be a problem. They're all pretty lightweight. I don't think they need anything stronger, with the exception of some Mod Podge that I used. But once I get those covered, I'm going to put them to the side. And so what we're making today, guys, is a basket or a pot or a bucket, I don't know what you want to call it, of harvest apples. That's what we're doing. So we're taking this little lucky bucket or a pail or whatever it's called from St. Patrick's Day I had in my stash. I was actually looking for something else that I was going to use for this. I had a different vision, but I couldn't find what I was looking for because somewhere or another it got lost and I'm a crafting mess and I don't know where I put it. But anyway, as luck would have it, get it? As the luck would have it, I found this lucky bucket of coins. So I decided to work with that. So next, what you see I'm doing here is taking this burlap tape placemat that I got from Hobby Lobby. I have quite a few of these in my stash. Now I do have some actual burlap, a burlap roll, but I think it's in my storage unit and I don't know because I can't find it here in my apartment, so I don't know. It's probably in the storage unit. But anyway, I have these and this worked out just fine. So what you see I did there was I just basically traced out the shape of the lucky pot and cut it down to size. Now I was at first digging the little fringe at the bottom. I'm like, oh, that's going to give it some rustic charm. But then it kind of started looking like a little hula skirt. And so I stayed with it towards the end, but off camera I end up cutting that off because I was like, I don't know, we're getting coconut bra vibes, we're getting hula skirt, but I just couldn't do it. It was not giving what I wanted. So next, what you see I'm doing here is I'm taking some Mod Podge, and I am using the fabric Mod Podge because it's really thick. Now you can use some other adhesive if you have it, and I am going in with some hot glue on that raised lucky part, and I'm using the lucky word to my advantage to give it a little bit of a lift, or to make it look a little pushed out, if you will. And so I just add a little bit of hot glue on there. It didn't seep through as much as I thought it would, so we were all good there. Then next I'm going in with this fabric that I got from Joann's, and I really like this fabric. So what I was trying to do is make it look like the bucket was lined with this type of fabric to give it that more vintage look. And yeah, it was some shenanigans that happened here. But what you saw I did right there was I kind of fringed the edges again, giving it that farmhouse, that old school charm, just to, you know, make it look really vintage in a sense. Real rustic, not vintage, more rustic. I guess it could be vintage too, I don't know. But then I had these little styrofoam thingies that from something I ordered, and they look like little mini pool noodles. So I just cut it in half, and I'm lining it up there at the top. And what I'm trying to do is make it look as if that cloth is kind of folding out. I don't know how to explain this, guys, and what was going on in my brain when I thought about this. So it's probably going to be easier for you guys to just follow along, because it's not complex at all. It's a hot mess because, you know, I'm doing it and not doing it probably how I should have done it. But I'm doing it, and it's, you know, it was a lot going on in my brain that I was trying to get out onto this project. So I put those together, glued them together. Then I glued down the fabric. Now, as you can see there, you know, I measured this out. I clearly did. Now, I edit out a lot of this because I measured it out twice. I cut it out twice, and it still came up short. So what I'm doing here is I'm like, okay, just roll with the May. Just glue it down, tuck it in. You can still fix this. So now I'm just tucking in the apples to make sure they're going to fit all 4 pieces, because when I laid this out, it did fit. But as you can see, only 3 fit there now. So I maneuver it around, work with it, but I do end up getting all 4 in there. And so at first I was going to go that way, and I was like, yeah, but you're going to see me switch it up right here. So I glue off to the side the 2 green apples, and I gotta tell you, this is actually really cute, and I do think I could probably transition this into Christmas. You know, I think I can get away with it. I honestly do. And you guys can let me know at the end once I'm done. So excuse me, I end up putting the apple in the back, and I really like that to give it that more layered or stacked effect. And I think this came together super cute. Now, if it really looks like a whole bucket of apples or not, or a basket or bundle of apples, I don't know, but I think it's just absolutely adorable. So then what I do right here is I take another piece of cloth, and I just cut it down to cover those little handles on the side right there, the little thingies that's pucking out on the side. I don't know, or poking out. I said puck, like pucker, poking out on the side. Then I take some jute twine, and I was going to try and wrap it around, but it just was so oddly shaped, it wasn't working. So I just cut it down in strips, and I just glued it around that way. And I wanted to do 3 different stripes. So that's what you see I'm doing here, just to kind of look like it was kind of tied or bunched together, holding those apples in place. And I don't know if you guys are getting my vision here. I don't know if it's working or not, but I'm trying to give it to you guys. So just ride with me on this one, okay? And this is absolutely adorable. Now, you can add a hanger to the back of this. I'm going to totally put it up as a leaner. I might add a hanger later. I don't know. So originally, I liked the little fringes that was the little scraggly ends that was hanging off. But as I was going through this, I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that. So I cut that off. then I decided, okay, the handles need some covering too. So then I go in with some more of that jute twine and I just wrap it around on each side. Then I was like, okay, it looks a little unfinished around the bottom. So I take more of the jute twine and I just outline that. And it was right about here where I started looking at the little fringe at the bottom, thinking to myself, yeah, that's not working for me. It's giving hula skirt vibes. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna cut that off later on. So excuse me, I just go ahead and put that all the way around right there. And I guess you guys really need to see me outline the whole thing. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I hope everybody's doing okay, lovies. I'm so glad you guys are here watching this with me. I keep saying one day I'm gonna do a video of me watching this while you guys are watching it and doing the whole voiceover at that time. Let me know if that's something you want to see. You know, it kind of be me up in the corner there just talking through the video. So next I go in with some of my lettering right here, guys, and I add fresh harvest apples, and you guys will see it in the final reveal. As I was saying, let me know if you guys want me to join you in watching the video. So on to project number 2, guys. Now this project, boy, oh boy, oh boy. May was in full effect with this one. Now, the vision I had for this would have been okay, but I messed up. And this is one of the downfalls of pre-painting. I pre-paint because I don't have a whole lot of time to craft. This was totally cute. I went in with the white paint, that spice berry, some burnt umber, and it was giving what I was going after at this point. But the napkin that I'm going to be using to do the decoupage, I'm so used to putting white as my base paint. I should have used the color cashew or plaster here because it would have blended better with the napkin. So I was like, oh well, you know, I already did the pre-painting of the white and everything. So I'm just going to roll with it. And I thought maybe I could pull it off. So what you see I'm doing here is I'm trying to give it a more kind of chip paint or chip enamel type of look. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. My brain had a lot going on, guys. Like, it was a lot of thoughts going through my brain during this time. So I'm like, okay, let me make a thicker outline. I'm trying to make it look like the apple is open. I hope you guys can see it, right? Can you see it? Like it's a half of an apple open. That's what I was trying to go with it. So I'm making it this thick outline right here, but I'm still thinking to myself, like, this is going to be just too white for that napkin. I'm not going to be able to pull this off. So I'm still going to try because that's me and that's what I do. So here I'm just separating the napkin. I got this napkin from, I have no idea where I got this napkin from, guys. I don't know. I really don't know where I got this napkin from. So I'm just separating out the pieces that I want with my water pen, just basically doing an outline of what I want to keep from the napkin. And right here, now I probably could have went with it just like this and be like, okay, it is what it is, let it do what it do. But it just was bothering me. I'm like, this is not blending. It looks like a napkin sitting on top of an apple, and I didn't like that. So I'm just going to go in with my old, just Mod Podge, doing the whole decoupage technique and everything. I use my sponge here to flatten it down, to remove a lot of those wrinkles. And I do that for the whole piece. And so what's still bothering me here, and I was like, okay, excuse me, my voice is going, guys. I'm like, okay, let's go in with the cashew paint, right? And I'm like, okay, it's looking too dark, like, because the background is so white, it still was not blending how I wanted. So I kept going, and then I took some burnt umber, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to distress, which I had started distressing with the cashew paint over the red. I really like that. And I was like, okay, now it really stands out because, again, it's so light underneath the napkin. That's what was throwing it off. So I was like, start sanding. When you're in distress, you distress. And so that's what I did here. I just took my finger sander and I just started going to town, guys. Sorry for the table moving. I did not realize my Tripod was so close to my table, but I was going in, guys. I was distressing and just sanding. And this just totally went in a totally different direction than what I wanted. Now, I did not like the end result of this. I'm not being too hard on myself, but it just looked dirty to me. Okay. It just started looking dirty. So here I'm trying to brighten it up and bring it back to life. I put this ribbon on. Now this is a May bow, not a Kathy Joe bow. It's a May bow, pitiful bow. But I put some greenery. I put this little flower in there, and that's like pretty much it. Like, it just didn't save it, but I do feel like I'm gonna go back and probably disassemble this and sand it down. So I had another one of those little apples, another napkin, but I did this off camera. I thought I was filming and I wasn't. Added that there. Again, not my favorite project of the day. So guys, I'm not being hard on myself. That just was not something that I would look at and be like, oh, I really like that. And I'm just honest with myself in that way. So it's something that I can go back and fix though. So on this one, I'm taking these two little apples. Now these are the more rounded ones that I got off of Amazon, and I'm going to go in with one of those latte cups that you can find at Dollar Tree. Now this was more of an inspiration piece. So Kathy Joe did one on her channel a couple weeks ago, and I liked the little technique she did with the lid where she made it have like a little hole for you to sip out of. I was like, that's pretty neat. I'm going to try that. So I went in with my cinnamon color paint by Folk Art and the white color paint by by Folk Art as well. And I started out here, and I remember her saying like, oh, that doesn't look right. But I was like, it actually looked pretty cool. Like, I thought it was pretty neat. And so I was like, I don't know, she's just being hard on herself. So I was like, I'm still going to try it. So I did it. Then I looked at it. I was like, okay, I see what she's saying. But because we're kind of cut from the same cloth, Kathy Joe and I kept going. And so with my Cricut Joy, I printed out hot apple cider here, and I like that. Like this, I like the whole white over the cinnamon. I thought that was really pretty. And I did some light distressing on that back part of the cup. And I think, and you guys can let me know if you agree here, I think what throws it off is that top back part where the hanger hems from. I think that's what throws it off. That's just me. So I take my two covered apples that I covered in some fabric there. I put them right in the center, and I really like this. Like, this is really cute, but it was looking unfinished to me. So once I added the string back in, I was like, it still needs something. And so I decided to go in and just give it a excuse me, sorry, decided to go in and outline it with my black marker, giving it kind of a cartoon finish, if you will. And so I go over it a couple of times, just playing around with the thickness of the line. So even the middle part, I outlined that. I outlined the lid. I outlined everything just to see if that would bring it together. And I do like the way it looks. And I really, as I sat back and looked at it, I'm like, yeah, I think it's that top part. That's what's throwing it off. So I would definitely say I would probably try to remove that, but I think that part is attached to the actual cup, if I remember correctly. And so then at the top, sorry, oh my goodness, guys, my voice. So at the top, I had kind of shaded in the top, and I was like, okay, I wanted to give it a little definition, but I quickly didn't like that. So you see me erasing it. So then what I decided to do is just cover that, paint that back in complete white without any shading at all. And I left it there. So you guys can let me know in the final reveal if you like it like that. So next up, we're taking one of these home signs from Dollar Tree, and I really like this sign. It just screamed fall to me with the colors of it. I like the wood, that faux wood look it had to it. So then what I decided to do was take some more of these rub-on transfers, Thank you, Ro. And that's Ro from Craftacular, my girl. And she has sent me some of these. And Kathy Joe sent me some as well. So thank you both, ladies. And I love them. I'm using them. I'm using them. I am using them because I waited a long time for those rub-on transfer. But I painted the apples in that cinnamon color, and I thought it was a pretty close match to the sign. I really love that. And so all I'm doing here is playing around with the placement, because when I pulled off that greenery, it left a lot of glue residue. And I didn't feel like scraping it off. I'm like, I didn't want to run the risk of tearing the paper on this sign. So I kind of left it as is. No, I didn't kind of. I did. I left it as is. I'm going to cover it up for the most part. You really won't be able to see it the way I'm going to line up the apples. So once I get them in the desired place that I want them, I just glue them down with some hot glue. Now this is going to be on my front door, but on the inside. So I'm not putting anything heavier on it other than hot glue. So next I'm taking these wooden corner appliques, and I'm just going to put them right up on the corner of this sign, just to give it a more finished look, or just to add a little oomph to it, if you will. I don't know if it really made it look finished or not, but I just figured, you know, what could it hurt? So I decided to add them in, and I left them in their natural colors. Well, not color, but natural state. There's no color there, May. Just natural wood, because they are wood cutouts. And so I really like this. I think it did add a nice little touch to this sign. So next, what I do is, from that greenery that I took off of here, I'm going to snip off a few of those pieces, and I'm going to use that to cover up the leaves on, or to create leaves for the apple, and to try to cover up the holes on there as well. So once I do that, I'm like, okay, it still needs a little something. So now I'm going in with the Kathy Joe bow. And I had cut down the tails how I wanted them, and I'm just going to glue it right up at the top. And I'm going to take another one of the little orange flowers and put it right in the middle of there. But I also had some other little scrap pieces that I had clipped off, and I'm just putting them. Now I know you can't really tell right there, but I'm just putting them right where the tails are, and I put the little orange flower right in the middle. And I think this is absolutely adorable, guys. I mean, this is just a really quick and easy way to kind of juice up one of these signs if you want to have a little hanging element in your home. So next, my sweet friend Laura from LCR More sent me these self-adhesive stencils from Dollar Tree. Now I saw these a couple years ago, never got them at my store. Shocker, right? Yeah, I know. Anyway, so she asked me had I been looking for anything. I had mentioned these, and sure enough, she found them and sent them to me. Now this wooden apple, which is not wooden, it's actually ceramic, but it's a faux wooden apple, and I saw quite a few people haul these. Jenny hauled these from Lovely Moments Creating, and I went to a new Dollar Tree, and they had them, two of them there, and I grabbed them because I just thought, okay, I'm never gonna find those. And I did, so I snatched them. But I was like, what can we do with this? So I thought to myself, okay, let's try out the Dollar Tree stencils, because I was like, let me see if they're any good, if they're sticky. And guys, let me tell you, they have some good adhesive on them. Now I will say, it took me a little bit to put it down, but I think that's just because it's the shape of the apple, because it's rounded. And I did, as you saw there, I had to cut out the little piece I wanted to use, which says Hello Fall. And the stencil did not lay flat, but I wanted to be extra careful here. I didn't want to be aggressive. So I'm just going to take my white paint, and I'm just putting a little bit of paint on my brush and dabbing it on there. So it's not going to have a thick coating of white, because I really was trying not to have any bleed through, because even though this is self-adhesive, there is no screen or anything there. So it's literally just the paint going to the surface. And guys, I have to tell you, the stick was good, okay? The sticky was working. So I did go and I tried to wash it. I was like, well, let me see if it's going to be reusable or not. I looked at the package, it didn't say, and I did wash it. It was still sticky, but it was not as sticky as when I originally used it. So there's that. But it did go back to shape. It did not stretch out. So here I had a scrap piece of greenery that I removed the little plastic pluggy thing that be on there to hold the flower. Removed that, slid it over the stem of the apple, and there is our Hello Fall apple, guys. And that is it for our projects for today, guys. And if you are still riding with me, lovies, I hope you enjoyed today's show. I love hanging out with you guys. And if you haven't already done so, lovies, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, liking. It really does help my channel out, guys. See, that's where I cut off the bottom. I like it better like that. But let me know, guys, does it scream fall or does it scream Christmas to you? But what I was gonna say before I mentioned that is that just consider subscribing and liking if you haven't already done so, guys. As I was going to say, I love hanging out with you guys. I absolutely 100% do. I love that you come back and hang out with me and watch the videos and comment and laugh with me and share your stories with me, on here and behind the scenes. I love to get those messages and emails and things like that. It really makes my heart smile. So keep them coming, guys. Let's really get this channel growth going. It would help me out so much. And it's free, guys. It's absolutely 100% free. All right. So until the next video, lovies, be safe, be kind, hugs and kisses. XOXO. Bye.